Boom, Mr. Bryce Petty. Look at this setup, my man.
I mean, you guys realize where we're at, man. I mean, we're trending.
Upward.
This is a big dang deal, man. Yay Networks. Thank you guys so much for letting us use the space, the audio, the video. Got my man Garrett in here running the disc jockey back there, DJ for short. This is sweet, man. This is, I guess, what we've always probably envisioned for doing this.
You know, we've tried to be in the same room. We had audio issues. Now I get to look at your beautiful face while we're talking. This could get dangerous.
It could.
Watch out. I'm going to be
sweating.
playing footsies under the table. Glad you guys can't see it. Welcome to the Trevor and Bryce Show.
Man.
I'm Trevor Knight, my esteemed partner, and Mr. Bryce Petty. That's a good word. We've used that quite a bit about each other. Esteemed.
Yeah, it's true, and actually it probably characterized me pretty well, being that Baylor Bears won pretty big.
We're gonna get to that.
Esteemed them Iowa State.
If you guys are looking at the video copy, we've got the green and gold behind us in honor of Bryce's Bears. They came out ready to play some football on Saturday. We are going to talk about that quite a bit here coming up on the show. Bryce, give us some overall thoughts on this week. Anything stick out to you in terms of Big 12? We're in the meat of it now. We're getting going. Anything that just sticks out to you that you want to kind of kick this off with?
Well, I tell you what, we had some pretty interesting games, right? We had K-State go to Oklahoma State, a very surprising win to me. Sitting here kind of playing couch quarterback on Mondays and whatnot, but we really didn't know who Oklahoma State was. I didn't think. It came out firing really, and to be totally honest, the score is probably a little bit leaning towards Kansas State because they had a big long touchdown run on a kickoff there. But so really good, by Oklahoma State and the fighting Mullets down there. My Baylor Bears, I tell you what, man, they came out, they did what they needed to do. It wasn't anything pretty, it was ugly, but we got a win. So it's kind of interesting. But I would actually love to go down the list here just to recap last week, just so everybody knows what we got. Let's just talk a little bit about each of these games real quick. But West Virginia at Oklahoma. Ooh. Good grief, Trevor. I mean, OU barely sneaks by. As my man George Whitfield says, paid in direct change or exact change rather. To come out with a win there. What did you see from OU or what didn't you see rather?
Well, I'll get to this later in our show, my bads from the week, but man, you got your quarterback kind of getting booed off the field.
Tough deal.
It's a bad look all the way around, but 16-13 at home against a West Virginia team that sure they've been playing okay. They had a big win last week, so maybe they're riding a little bit of that confidence, but man, just snuck away with one. With that being said, 4-0 is 4-0 is 4-0.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
I mean, it is tough to win week in and week out, and that's why you see a lot of these teams, especially in late, recent history. You're not seeing undefeated teams go in the college football playoff, right?
Right.
Everybody slips up at least once. They got out of there with a win, and we're going to be happy about that, right? Interesting stat here, though. That was the first ever in the history of Oklahoma football time that they kicked a field goal to win the game as time expired. I thought that was crazy.
No kidding.
All the years of Oklahoma football, and that had never happened. That just shows either they're killing people or they're getting beat up on like the Bears back in 2014. But yeah, interesting stat there. We'll get more into West Virginia, Oklahoma later in the show. Iowa State at Baylor. Let me hear your thoughts as a Baylor Bear. Big win for the program, right?
Huge win. Shout out to the boys down in Waco. Coach Aranda, you can tell that these guys are really starting to buy into the program. What I noticed coming off of that game, a couple of things just on different sides of the ball, but offense, we have found an identity really early. Something that I think controversially, you guys in Norman may have not found yet. Just 57 yards on the ground for you guys. That's not OU football to me, right? And so, whether that's a lot on Spencer Rattler or Lincoln Riley, maybe you got 5 dudes up front that are typically maulers, in Norman. That needs a change. But going back to my guys at Baylor, I mean, they found an identity early. Again, Treston Ebner and Abram Smith, man, these guys They show up. They show up on Saturday, and it's such a cool story with Abram as well, just because, you know, was linebacker last year, came back over on the offensive side of the ball, and it's just a team player all the way. Love watching what that guy does on Saturdays. But they're playing together on defense, and they're starting to understand where the play needs to be made. Right. And what I mean by that is when you have a young defense within a new coaching staff, there's a lot of times where you have to trust the coaching staff, you have to trust the call, and you have to trust your ability to make the play, right? Making the play on defense is all about being in the right position. And guys are starting to be in the right position, and you see that. Whereas, you know, last year, again, blaming on COVID, blaming on a lot of different things, didn't happen. They're starting to get there. So we had a huge 2-point conversion stop to beat a top-ranked Iowa State team coming in at number 14, and made it kind of back to that 2014, 2013 days when I was playing, and a couple years later when we went to Sugar Bowl with Rule. So
yeah, so let me ask you this, Bryce. Both of those teams that we just discussed, OU and Baylor, both 4-0.
Yep.
One of just a few teams left in the Big 12 that are undefeated. The message, I would think, today at practice, right, and throughout the rest of this week, going into next weekend, very different coming from the top, right? I mean, you just mentioned it. Baylor is clicking. They're finding identity. They're scrapping and clawing to get those bigger wins. OU, they're kind of fighting from the top, right? I mean, preseason, everything. They're not playing like they want to, but they're still undefeated. What's the message from Lincoln Riley in Norman for his team? And then what's the message for those guys down in Baylor Baylor? You know, Dave Aranda's got to be pumping these guys full of confidence, whereas Lincoln's telling his guys, let's settle down. Let's play some football, right? I mean, what are these guys saying?
Well, and it's all about expectation, right? And I think that, you know, we put expectation on these guys, on these teams early, but it's warranted, right? I mean, expectation is a good thing. When you are circled at the beginning of the year on a calendar, that's where you want to be. And OU, rightfully so. I mean, 6-time Big 12 championship, back to back to back to back to back. Lincoln Riley has a system there. What's really interesting, and this was brought on our After Dark show, was that this is the first cat in Spencer Rattler that is homegrown, right? No transfer.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, right? Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, all these guys were transfers. So this is an interesting position to be in with all the weight in the world on Spencer Rattler preseason. I mean, it was pretty much the first time in a while that I can remember that was like a shoe-in for the Heisman.
Yep.
There's a lot of pressure there, right? On the other side of that coin, man, when you go out there with no pressure and guys, let's just put 60 minutes on the field and see what happens. There's a lot of good that can come out of that, right? So it's just a different, I think, message to those guys. And for Lincoln Riley and Norman, I think they're kind of playing not to lose, right? And that needs to change. Lincoln Riley needs to have a sense of urgency with his guys, really on and off the field. To where, you know, if you're jogging from station to station, it needs to be running from station to station. These guys need to have that sense of urgency to know, like, man, we are barely getting by. 4-0 is 4-0 is 4-0, yeah. But man, take 1 or 2 possessions away in a game and we're not 4-0, right?
I'll tell you something I saw that I thought was interesting though. After the game, Lincoln Riley, I was interested to hear what he had to say, right? Was he going to come in and say, guys, we got out of here with one, right? We slipped by. We barely made it. I thought that was going to be his message. We got to play better, that whole deal. He sat there, looked at the camera, kind of with a smirk on his face, and he said, I really like this team. I really like this team, and I really like where we're headed. I wonder if the byproduct on the field right now is not indicative of what they're seeing culturally in the locker room and on the practice field. And Lincoln might be okay with the fact of, hey, we got a win in one of those trap games, right? A couple times now, we're going to start really playing our best football as we get into Big 12 play, as we get it to the end of the year. We'll put another ring on our finger, maybe even 2 this year. I don't know. Homer comment, maybe not.
I think he's got a hell of a sports psychiatrist is what I think.
There's no doubt. Let's move on.
Unbelievable. Let's do it, man. I tell you what, hey, a game that we talked about a little bit before, right? Kansas State at Oklahoma State. This one was, like I said, a little bit interesting in terms of what the final was. I thought the game was totally different, but 31-21 OSU. Spencer Sanders, hello. Welcome to the Big 12.
Well, welcome to 2021, right?
Oh my gosh, 22 of 34, 344 yards in the air, 2 tutties with another on the ground. And then this name, I'm telling you, you guys need to find out if you don't know him already, but Jalen Warren is a cat now. He is a dude. This is the second week in a row that he's gone. I think it was 170 last week, something around there with Boise State, but 27 carries, 123 yards, another 81 yards on the air. Identity in Stillwater, maybe? What do you think?
You look back at Oklahoma State, and it's always like, what's Mike Gundy gonna do? What's Mike Gundy gonna do? He always just wins football games, right? I mean, you go back to the days of Justin Blackman and those types of guys, and they're like, okay, they got some cats. Well, this is gonna be a down year for Oklahoma State, and it's just never is, right? I mean, yes, they win or they lose some games rather that they shouldn't lose. But he finds a way to get 8-win season, 9-win season, 10-win season, always be in the talk towards the end of the year. Yeah. Can we go win Bedlam and potentially get back to the Big 12 championship? I mean, he's done a heck of a job in a little tiny college town called Stillwater, Oklahoma, where you go up I-35, you take a right, and you're driving in the middle of nowhere. He does a great job recruiting up there, and he gets his guys to come out and play. We could talk about how lackadaisical they look all we want, but at the end of the day, they find a way to win football games.
They're 4-0. Let me ask you,
know.
Did you guys ever stay in Stillwater?
Heck no.
We made that mistake our first year.
Heck no. We
didn't do that again.
Norman is 20 minutes south of Oklahoma City. We would go stay in Oklahoma City and then on the game day, drive 45 minutes to campus.
So we did.
Stillwater, I love you. You got some great little spots as a college town, but I would never rest my head on the bed.
But what
there.
happens is this is the beauty about college football, I feel like, as well. But they rent out every hotel there to where you're like a Motel 6 and you're like sucking up moths with like the vacuum, and God knows what's in the beds. I don't know. We did that once. And
okay, this is a little tangent. To your memory, what is the worst hotel that you ever stayed in as a player, and where was it at?
Yeah, it was Stillwater, 100%. It was legitimately like a Motel 6.
Really?
It was the worst thing in the world. Like they had like floral bed covers that are like the ones that, man, like if you black like the room,
dusty,
dude, it's just like kind of scary, like what you would find. It's almost like the shows on like AMC where they go and do like the ghost kind of things. Like it was that bad.
Lovely.
The food, it was rough. Nothing against the staff. They were great. The staff of the hotel was great.
Oh,
it was
nice.
just,
That's nice of you.
It wasn't for me. So
mine will surprise you a little bit. Mine was Notre Dame.
No kidding.
South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah.
Disgusting. I'm telling you, we were same type of deal. You're in a motel. You got to walk outside. It's kind of a sketchy area. You go in there and you're like, I think I'm gonna sleep with my shoes on. Just disgusting. Anyways, Baylor was pretty bad too, but they've put some newer, nicer hotels there in Waco. I'm glad to see you guys are pumping some money in.
Scrappy.
That's
we
right.
like it scrappy in Waco.
Right.
Scrubby little Baylor.
SMU at TCU.
Yeah.
Bryce, thoughts there?
Oh, God, I loved watching. I watched this game from start to finish. This was a really interesting game and kind of one of the trap games that we were talking about on our podcast last week.
Yep.
To be a potential upset. Did not know who TCU was. Really still don't know who TCU is. But I tell you what, we know who SMU is. Your boy Mordecai coming out from Norman, right? And lighting it up. The dude's got 20 touchdowns on the year right now.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Airing it out. Sonny Dykes, man. He's just doing Sonny Dykes things, right?
4-0 for the third consecutive year.
Something tells me, and I had this thought when I was a player. When I was trying too hard, I played my worst football.
Ooh, can you say that again?
When I was trying too hard,
yep.
Too hard, the echo, right? I played my worst football. When I just let it rip out there, when I trusted my preparation, when I trusted the guys around me, and most of all, when I had fun, man, I was slinging the ball around. We were winning football games. I feel like that's what Sonny Dykes does at SMU, is just permeate that type of relaxed environment into his team, and they go out there and they just have fun. You saw it, Shane Buechele, right?
Yeah.
He always felt uptight when he was at Texas. He gets to SMU and he just lets it rip. I'm not saying this about Lincoln Riley. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying in terms of Tanner Mordecai being under Sonny Dykes, he is playing really, really good football. Interesting win there for the Mustangs over TCU. Bryce, did that give them a case to potentially
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I know exactly where you're going. Go ahead and finish the question.
Is that giving them a really good case to not only join the Big 12 but be a contender moving
Not a
forward?
pretender.
That's right.
Look, I think that they've put really, really good product on the field. Product acting like people are.
That's
I
what
don't
we
like
are.
them. Throw them away.
Yeah.
No, they've put really good teams on the field the last couple years, and this transfer portal really makes an SMU-like team very interesting to be in the discussion for the Big 12, right? So, yeah, I do. I think that they played really well. I mean, that was what I was going to talk about. I mean, TCU, right? When you think of TCU, what's the first thing that you think about?
Gary Patterson.
Right, defense.
Yes.
100%, right? It's like
100%.
those guys, and I was talking about with Aranda, and I think that he is going to get there, which is going to be really interesting a couple years down the road now. But TCU perennially has always been a team that you associate with good defense. Gary Patterson coaches his guys really hard on that side of the ball, and they recruit really well on that side of the ball. And 595 yards to the SMU Stangs. Now I know that the Stangs are rolling on offense, but that's a lot of yards, right? And this is coming off a Cal team that I think they beat by 2, 34, 32, something like that they gave up 460, 470 yards. So this is, and you see these every, a couple years with a Gary Patterson coach defense, but this right here, to me, we will get down the road on a second, but Texas coming to Amon Carter again, this is going to be a really interesting game to me because that's three games or 2 games in a row. Texas is playing hot on offense. What TCU do we see? Right. And so all that being said, I 100% think that SMU belongs in the Big 12. I think it'd be a great addition, not only regionally where they're located at, but in terms of kind of throwing some wrenches in the fire with this transfer portal as well. But defense has to get better on TCU.
Yeah, that'll lead us into our next one here. The Texas Longhorns, right? Are they playing good? I mean, we just talked about them getting blown out at Arkansas. You make a quarterback change. They play Rice. Okay, they put up some numbers. Now they go and they have an awesome week this past week against the Red Raiders. Is Casey Thompson really that turnkey difference maker in that program, or are they just figuring it out? I mean, what are your thoughts on that game? It's 70 points in a Big 12 match. I mean, that's a lot of points, dude.
They put up 58 on Rice last week. I know that it's 50, but the way that they're doing it is they're scoring touchdowns. Yep. They're moving the ball down the field. Casey Thompson is not putting them in bad situations, and they're running it on the back of who I think is going to be the Big 12 Player of the Year, and Bijan Robinson, especially for the month of September, is my MVP there. But again, they are starting to come together. And I think, and we talk about this a lot, but, sometimes a loss is the best thing for you. And I think getting, trampled on by the Arkansas Razorbacks, who is coming to be in the national scene a hell of a team. But what we're seeing right now with them is a team that is kind of unifying themselves within Casey Thompson, believing in Sark, and their offense is putting up points.
You think it is Sark, though? Because a Texas team in the past, at least in the most recent history, if they go get blown out like that, everybody panics, and they kind of let that bleed into the next week and maybe even the following week and so on and so forth. Next thing you know, it's like, yikes, here we go again. Texas is on the snowball in a bad direction. You think Sark had a good message to them? I mean, obviously the quarterback deal is a huge topic, but do you think Sark is the guy for this job? Prediction here, Bryce. Is Sark a guy that lasts longer than 5 years in Austin?
Wow. I think my opinion, not always right, but 100% of the time I am.
Never right.
What did my buddy say today? He said, I'm not always right, just confident or something like that. It's great. I'll figure out that quote. Sorry. But look, I think that Sark stays around. I think that he sees a place in Austin now that is behind him. I think that he wants to be here. I really do. I can see that. Yeah. The only thing that I think takes him away from Austin given what a Texas Longhorn head coach gets, right, in terms of that national spotlight, in terms of the recruiting, can go recruit anywhere. The only thing that pulls him away is, I think, an NFL offer.
I think you could be right because he's already shown us
Always right.
that he desires to be in the NFL. I mean, he was my offensive coordinator and QB coach for the Falcons, right?
That's right.
Didn't have the year that he wanted to there, so he went back down and was at Bama and did really good things. But I think you're right there. But if he's at a place like Texas where he's now the guy and he develops a culture of winning and they get them back on track, I mean, I look at Sark as potentially the next guy to follow up Mac Brown as one of the best to ever be in Austin.
Yep.
And that's a big statement, right?
That is a big statement.
Because we looked at Charlie Strong, and I wasn't a huge fan of that hire, right? I mean, he's a Louisville guy. He's kind of a Florida-based recruiting guy, kind of all out on that East Coast, right? I was a fan of the Tom Herman hire. You know, I thought that was going to be huge, and then he just didn't come in and manage the culture correctly. That's a tough job to have there in Austin. I mean, very tough. A lot of pressure. Lot coming from the boosters. Lot coming from the university from a financial standpoint, right? I think Sark can handle it. He's got enough moxie to give the stiff arm to the folks that he needs to give a stiff arm to, and to also manage the team well and get those guys going. So it'll be interesting to see how they play here down the stretch there in Austin.
I tell you what, and you make a really good point too. I think he's got a story, right? He's got a story of, some adversity, life adversity, which we all have, and he's come back from it. And I think this would be a great place for him to kind of ride off, and not ride off into the sunset by any means. I don't see him like that, but at the same time too, Texas definitely has a culture and a position to where if you wanted to, you certainly could.
And it's the first time that they've hired somebody from the top, right? I mean, Charlie Strong was doing good and then went to a Texas.
Yep.
Same thing with Tom Herman, was performing well at a lower tiered school, came to Texas. You've got Sark, who's winning national championships at the top, getting on a plane the next day and flying to Austin. I mean, he's been there. He understands it.
Different.
He's going to get that culture going.
Different. I love it. Well, let's move on. We got let's do these week 6 goods here. Look, I've already kind of mentioned it too. Let's stay in Austin, right? Team Texas, right? You guys have, again, what we just talked about, you guys bounced back from Fayetteville. Again, I think what's going to come down, in December to be a pretty damn good loss, even though you got blown out, a pretty good loss on your schedule. It's not like you lost to Wake Forest or whoever, and Wake Forest is ranked. Sorry, that's probably a bad example there. But
you're a hater, dude. Yeah, that's horrible. Hate on the smart kids.
What's their logo?
Wake Forest?
Demon Deacons.
Well, that's their mascot, not their logo. But
yeah. Too many beers. Sorry. You know what I mean? Mascot, whatever. Look, let's keep it back on the goods, okay? Look, Team Texas. So I got Bijan Robinson, man. I think that, as we finish up September, we've got 4 games now to look at what he's done. I'll just throw you guys some stats here. But 436 yards, 5 touchdowns on the ground, another 145 receiving, and 2 more touchdowns. I mean, this guy is doing everything for them. It runs through him. And even, against Rice, he probably could have had more, but they took him out, thankfully. I think this guy is their offense, and he can 100% handle it. This is the first time that I felt like in a long time, from a recruiting standpoint, they went and got that dude, and they either developed that dude, or that dude actually is that dude. Not to just be a broken record with the word there, but it's been interesting with the Jonathan Grays,
Malcolm Browns,
yep. and yeah, that's a great. It's interesting because you always see a very highly touted dude at that position that just never really produces. Whether that's either front 5 scheme, there's a lot of things that go into that. This guy is that dude for them.
Yeah, he's certainly kind of the nucleus of that football team right now. So, that leads into my good. I'm going to stay there in Austin. Casey Thompson, man. 18 of 23.
Big 12 play of the week, buddy.
303 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown.
That's right.
I mean, the dude was wheeling and dealing. Here's what I liked about Casey Thompson, okay? I look at my career, college, pros, whatever it was, and it comes down to when you're given a shot, do you make the most of your opportunity, right?
Good.
I remember back to my redshirt freshman year, I was battling it out with Blake Bell for the starting job.
Yep.
And it came down to the last couple practices, right, of fall camp. I remember going in there and I made the most of my opportunity. I threw a few touchdown passes. I had some moxie and the team was rallying around me. I got named the starter. Fast forward to when I'm with the Cardinals. I got to play 3 quarters, and I've shared this story before, in Mile High Stadium for the Arizona Cardinals, my dream, playing in the NFL, and I absolutely laid an egg.
Yeah.
I did not make the most of my opportunity. I threw a pick 6. I was like 1 for 185. I mean, it was horrible. And so, that's what happened. I got cut, right? I got cut the next day and I moved on and I ended up getting to play for a little while, but I did not make the most of my opportunity. Casey Thompson could have said, man, they named Hudson Card the starter. I'm out. I'm checked out.
Yep.
I'm not going to get prepared to play. Sure, I'll be the backup, but I'm not really going to be preparing like I'm the starter. That is not what he did.
Yeah.
He picked himself up. He went in the film room. He got ready to play. He played fantastic against Rice. And then in a big game, I mean, I know Tech's not, Alabama, right?
Yep.
But it's a big game. He came out and he absolutely showed out. I am excited for him. His brother played with me at Oklahoma, so I know the type of workers that they are in that family. If he's anything like Kendall, man, the guy who goes to work every single day. He is my good of the week, and I'm excited to watch him as we unfold Big 12 football. What is your
I love it.
bads of the week?
Yeah,
flipping it around here.
Well, and again, we try to switch this up a little bit, but look, I would, TCU, it's just not good. It's just not good all around. And the whole thing is, they have about 20% capacity every game too, tough. Which is tough to play there. But look, they have the pieces every year to do and to have that, kind of breakout year. And it's just, again, it's another week of kind of a disappointment on defense where they're known for defense, and an SMU team, again, that was hot on offense. They need to have a better plan than giving up 600 yards. That's my bad of the week, TCU.
I'm going with Oklahoma, but not Oklahoma, the football team.
Go ahead.
I am going with Oklahoma, the fan base.
Yeah, that's a tough deal.
And I hate to call these guys out because they cheered me on and they were so great to me and still are, but you're booing your starting quarterback. You're calling for the backup. That is just not what you do, man. That hurt my soul for that guy.
Yep.
Spencer Rattler, you keep your head up, man, and I know you will. You've already put some stuff out on social media showing that you're still in this thing.
Yeah.
But my goodness, Bryce, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is that completely unacceptable from the Oklahoma fan base, or is it okay, right? I mean, I know they have a reason to be frustrated, but is that the solution to boo and call for a new guy? I mean, you look at Spencer Rattler's numbers. He had a decent enough game. He threw one bad throw on a corner route and got picked off.
No, it's not even about picks. There's a lot going on in Norman, really. And again, I don't put this all on Spencer Rattler. I really don't. I think that those big guys up front, man. My challenge is to you, right? I mean, you guys have to, again, pocket collapsing, 57 yards on the ground, and it's not like he's not calling runs. Y'all had like 27 rushes. Say y'all like you still play for him. They had 27 rushes.
I could look at me.
Yeah, right. Your shoulders are freaking tear off just sitting here. But going back to your question, no, look, it is 2021. We all know that. There are expectations that are given to us as a player. This is an entertaining sport. You are an entertainer, without a doubt. When you come in, and this is the hard part, because I got a lot of things kind of turning in my mind right now. But when you come in and you got a videotape, you got a whole Netflix series about you, right? Be that as it may, but you got to produce. There was a couple series in a row where he's just like trying to make something happen, just throwing the ball down the field. He's looking at one dude and he's throwing it. You can't do that. Lincoln Riley, I think, needs to sit there, take this dang thing away from him for sure. That's the other hard part about 2021. When you got fans booing, it doesn't leave you on Saturday. You don't walk out of that game and be like, okay, it's done. Next Saturday, you see that junk Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yep.
And as a man, it's hard. As a man, you want to be the guy that people are cheering for, not against, especially not talking about, the dude that's in the room with you, right? That's super interesting. So no, I don't think it's okay for the fans to do that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I'm sitting here on a podcast talking about. I mean, we're talking about the last 4 weeks, right? Like Spencer Rattler, where you at?
Yep.
Where you at? Where you at? I'm not booing him. But at the same time, those fans have come to expect a particular output and production level from that position, right? And you always talk about it, it's head coaches and it's QBs, and rightfully so. I'm hoping, really, this is my question to you, and I kind of mentioned it to you on the phone, but what do you think Lincoln Riley is telling Spencer Rattler this week, right? It's Monday. When you come in, Sunday, you're kind of watching the film. So Monday's your off day, media day, whatever. What do you think that he's told him, Sunday and Monday to kind of like get him out of whatever this is and hopefully away from the phone?
See, this is where it gets hard for me, because Lincoln Riley's got to lay in bed at night and think about how he's going to react to this, right? I personally think that Lincoln is going to approach this week and just push confidence into Spencer Rattler, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Spencer knows that he didn't play as well as he wanted to.
Right.
The whole team knows that they didn't win like they wanted to. Lincoln Riley probably knows he didn't coach as well as he needed to, right? So let's go into Monday, put together a plan for this week, and go execute it better than we did the day before, the week before, the season before, right? I mean, these coaches always talk about a 1 week mindset. Let's go one day at a time so we can play 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
Put that one behind us. We're 4-0. Our goals are still out in front of us. Let's go to work on Monday with confidence so we can go out there next weekend and play our best football of the season.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Speaking of great point, I think it's a great point that you led us to the next week, because I think we've cleaned up last week pretty good. We got some big games coming to watch. If you could, Trevor, please give us a really good read from our sponsor.
Yeah, before we get into the odds for the week, let me tell you guys about our partners over at BetRivers Sportsbook. Have been amazing for us all year long. If you haven't signed up with them yet, now's the time. They're offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. What sets them apart is that they require just one play to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With football season well underway, and we're in the middle and the heart of Big 12 football, get in the action by going to betrivers.com today or by downloading BetRivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Got a gambling problem, Bryce? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. BetRivers, we thank you guys. You guys have been amazing so far. Bryce, what are the games this week that we're looking at? What are the lines? What's the over-under? Who you picking? Let's roll through it.
Man, I tell you what, this is actually pretty interesting. We got a little bit of shakeup, right? We got some shakeups in the top 25 this week. My Baylor Bears coming in at number 21. The Oklahoma Cowboys.
What was that? Is that what you guys call them down there?
Oklahoma State Cowboys. I was trying to say the Oklahoma Cowboys, and that didn't work out. So we're going to try that again. Oklahoma State Cowboys at number 19, and then your Sooners at number 6. But I tell you what, okay, so let's start here. Again, a game that we have mentioned before, Texas at TCU. Oh my gosh, look at Garrett putting this. This is perfect. Texas minus 4.5. The over-under set at 67.5. Trevor, what are you thinking right there, buddy? Actually.
Uh-oh.
Actually,
I thought you
real
forgot.
quick, before we do that, we have to complete a bet. And just so you weren't here last week, we had a bet that I had to write down because Trevor is not good at remembering bets. But we had a bet.
I hoped you didn't remember.
No, it's okay. We had a bet for our fans here and for myself that I get to witness. This will be great. The conversation last week resulting in a win for Bryce, but Iowa State was minus 7.5, I think, in Waco.
Yes.
Which I said this is an upset of the week. I'm taking my Baylor Bears, for which then Trevor said, I will bet you a beerski a shotgun beer ski.
Shotgun beer ski.
As we get loaded for this. This is pretty exciting, everybody, that we are fulfilling a bet. Oh, that's a great sound right there.
That is a great sound.
And just so you guys know, we also added a second layer to the bet that the over-under on the shotgun has to be at 5 seconds. So if we can, I'm going to go ahead and put on here the stopwatch, because if he is over 5 seconds, you owe me dinner.
I owe you dinner.
All right, here we go.
But we're in a nice space. Give me a little grace here.
Oh wow. I didn't know we needed grace.
That's okay. 5 seconds. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Can I do it? Wait, let me check. All right, here we go. Ready?
3, 2, 1, go. That was a little tight, but
done. Oh,
I was terrible on the stop.
Goodness.
It's 4.87 or 4.78 seconds.
Well,
and
probably 2 seconds faster.
I might have been. I was not ready. Garrett, thank you so much,
Mr.
for throwing that
Slow
away.
Fingers over here.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm a man of many talents.
Hidden talent right there.
I mentioned this. My brother told me I mentioned this on every show. When I drink beer, I burp.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's coming. I just shotgun a beer.
Okay.
So it's coming. Hey, at least I don't know your dinner, but I am a man of my word.
Yes. It's a beautiful
Congratulations.
thing. It's a beautiful thing.
To
all right.
the Bears.
Thank you. Okay. Texas at TCU. Texas minus 4.5 with the over-under set at 67.5.
That was the burp. Dude, I'm taking the Longhorns. Longhorns minus 4.5. There it was again. I think I need a second. Yeah, we're good. Longhorns minus 4.5. I'm taking that for sure.
Okay.
You saw an SMU team that, sure, they have some moxie, but they went in there and they pushed around TCU pretty good. Texas with Casey Thompson, the way that they showed out the last 2 weeks, I think that confidence and that consistency continues. 4.5 points, man. I think it's going to be a lot more than that. I'm going to say Texas by 14 or more.
There you go. I'm actually going to stay with you. I'm going to go Texas minus 4.5 as well. I think they're going to blow them out. But
how about the over-under? Because Texas is putting up some points. I mean, 70 points themselves this past week.
True. I think they have over 130 the last 2 weeks. So I'm taking the over because TCU can score. It just looks like they can't stop anybody. But this will be interesting because what I alluded to before, to me, this is a I don't want to say a statement game for TCU by any means, but it is going to be interesting if TCU gets blown out, what they do with the rest of the season. Do you toss in the towel and say, hey, man, bottom of the barrel? Or, do they put up a fight? I don't see a Gary Patterson team ever throwing away or throwing in the towel. But at the same time, too, you got 22 guys on the field that might get, kind of fed up with what's going on.
Here's a question for you, and this really hadn't been brought up all that much, especially in the media. Is Gary Patterson getting close to being on the chopping block?
Wow.
I mean, if he has another bad year this year, is he close, or are they still putting statues up of him in Fort Worth and he's going to be there as long as he wants to be there? I mean, how long can this
2010
last?
Was 11 years ago now, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. Carry the 4. Yeah.
Oh,
10 years ago.
They won they won the Peach Bowl in 2014, but we're getting further and further away from these dates here,
well,
right?
I'm just saying a New Year's Bowl, right? When they went to the Rose Bowl. And I mean, that was such a good team.
Yep.
Jeez. Man, I don't know. He's kind of like, I think that guy wants to retire in Fort Worth. I think in Fort Worth, I think wants to see him retire there. So no, I don't think he's on chopping block.
Here's another question, and then we'll move on. Sark versus Gary. Put him in the octagon. Who's coming out on top in their prime, right? I mean, both gritty guys, both overly confident. You taking Sark in there, or are you taking Gary with that sweat rag? Just
the sweat rag. Is he wearing a belt or no belt? Have you ever noticed that he has the Chris Farley
tucked in? No, there's no. When I tuck in my shirt, I pull a little out so I can move.
Yeah,
this dude's straight tuck in to where he can't move, and then he's got to move it. Yeah, he's got an interesting look there.
Sorry, that's what is his name? Matt Foley. Matt Foley is what I was saying. Have you ever seen a clip of Matt Foley?
We may have to put that
this
up.
would be perfect for when we could throw that clip in there. We don't have to do it now. But no, I think I'm taking Scrappy Sark. I think
Okay.
Sark has he would do something that would, scratch, bite, claw. Yeah, I don't know.
I think he's driving his G-Wagon up to the octagon.
Yeah.
Stepping out in some stunner shades and then just going in there and getting his
Oh my
butt
God.
kicked by Gary. Oh, plot twist.
You're an idiot. All right.
All right.
Let's rock and roll. What's the next one here? Garrett, we got Texas Tech at West Virginia. Man, West Virginia minus 7.5, over under set at 56.5.
Yeah. Man, it's tough. We've talked about this quite a bit. It is tough to go play in Morgantown.
Yeah, big time.
They lost this week, but go back these last 2 weeks. They beat a Virginia Tech team. They come in against the juggernaut OU.
Yeah.
Quotes right now. I'll put quotes on it right now. And play really, really well. And really, honestly, had a really good chance to win that football game. I think that they are going to go back home, say, hey, guys, let's regroup. We value an effort and get back on track. And I think they're going to take care of Texas Tech pretty easily. Minus 7.5. Ooh, that's close. I'm still going to give it to them. Go West Virginia minus 7.5. What about you, Bryce?
I love it. I'm trying to look up because I know that Tyler Show got hurt, and apologies, it's really hard to watch every game. I'm not sure what the injury was. I think that
long hair McGee came in though.
Yeah. Look, I think that West Virginia played really well in Norman, and it wasn't in a way that you would think. Interestingly enough, I mean, I think they played really good defense, and so I think they're riding that horse. When West Virginia has good defense and they're riding like that, those guys in Morgantown are hard to beat.
Yep.
I'm going to go West Virginia as well. I'm going to take the under. I think Texas Tech is going to come out again and probably throw a goose egg. Sorry, Garrett. Probably throw a goose egg in the first half. Texas Tech just starts slow every week. And yeah, I'm going to take the under in that game.
I'm taking the under as well. Just don't think it's going to be a too high scoring of a game.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of a dog fight match, if that's a good phrase.
Yeah.
And I think West Virginia will come out of there with a win.
Got Chris Farley and Okie State. Yeah. Bryce is struggling this week. All right, Garrett, who we got next? OU minus 10.5 at Kansas State. Man, I was hoping that K-State would go into Stillwater and win that game last week because this would have been a really interesting game. Over under at 52.5. What do you got here, Trevor?
This is an interesting matchup. I always loved going to K-State, right? We always played well there. We beat them really, really bad a couple times. As a matter of fact, 2015, Baker's first year starting, went up there. We had like a 8-hour plane delay. Our plane in Norman didn't have the checks that they needed. Long story short, we got Whataburger and all this bad stuff before the game because we just had to get some food. Ended up going up there and beat them 59-0.
Wait, someone went and bought you guys Whataburger for the plane?
Yeah, our nutritionist was just freaking
Can you
out.
imagine
Well, we
someone
didn't
going, I need 700 number one.
It was crazy, dude.
Could you imagine being at Chick-fil-A with all the sauces? No, you don't get 2 sauces per meal.
I think we had
my gosh.
We had this is crazy because you think everything's buttoned up. It's big time college football. Yeah, our plane had a malfunction. We sat in the little terminal hangar area for 8 hours. We could have gotten in a bus and driven there in that time.
Wow.
But yeah, we were having coaches' wives it wasn't just Whataburger. It was Whataburger, Domino's. It was the night before game. I'm telling you, our nutritionist was handing them out, and she was just, oh, this is horrible.
I don't think we ever had that problem in Waco. You guys need to.
But we ended up playing really well. My point being, OU's traditionally played pretty well up there.
Right.
They've lost historically at home. Right. Colin Klein came in and beat OU at home in 2012.
Yep.
They came in and beat us in 2014, so on and so forth. OU's not playing their best ball right now, and going to the Little Apple is not an easy place to go play. I'm going to I think OU wins. And they may win handily, right? If Lincoln gets these guys going. But I'm going to take K-State plus 10.5. It's going to be a tight game again, but I think OU comes out on top.
Tough. This one's tough. What OU's game or what OU team is going to walk off the plane? Honestly, what K-State team is going to, Will Howard got hurt and Stillwater kind of came back and forth into the game. Yeah, geez, man. I tell you what. I think OU. I think OU travels this week. I think they travel. I think they get off the bus. I think Lincoln Riley's probably talking to those O linemen, going, "Hey,
Bill Bedenbaugh's talking to those O linemen.
yeah,
He is not. He doesn't mess around, man.
yeah." Well, that's what they need. I'm gonna take OU at -10.5. And I'm gonna go ahead and take I'm gonna take the over because I think I think everybody wants you to take the under on this one. I'm gonna take the over on that one. Okay, next, this is what I would deem as the game of the week.
Yep.
Okay. Baylor, who knew it? 2 games in a row on game of the week here, but so Baylor at Oklahoma State. This is another interesting one. I was telling Trevor before the show. So Oklahoma State has K-State at home, number 25 ranked team, beats them and goes number 19. Baylor has number 14 ranked Iowa State at home, 7.5 point favorite, beats them, and they're number 21. So, is what it is. We'll let you couch quarterbacks talk about that one. But so we have Oklahoma State -4 at home with the over-under set at 49.5.
I'm going with the Bears here. I'm going to ride the Bear train. It's in Stillwater. We've talked about, the paddles and how difficult it is to play up there as well. But I like Dave Aranda. I like the culture there. I think he's the man for the job. Just in his second year to see the turnaround there, it has been really, really cool. And I say turnaround. I mean, they had some really good years with Matt Rule, right? But man, really, really cool to watch the way that he's getting those guys ready to play. I'm taking the Bears here. Bears +4, and I think they win the game as well.
So this is going to be interesting because I've always wondered what it's like to go and talk about your alma mater in a negative way.
Yikes.
I'm going to take Oklahoma State in this game, as much as I hate to say it, because I can't wait to see all these turf monster videos that come up. It's that one's going to be fun.
All the votes that you had, like the 3.5, 3 3/4 votes that you had for a statue outside of McLean Stadium, they're gone now.
Yeah, and it rightfully so. But
here's a question. Here's a question for the Baylor faithful. I'm gonna just ask you point blank.
Okay.
Does it bug you that RG3 is and will always be the face of Waco, Texas, and you are just a shadow?
Yeah. Hey, I get a free bag of equipment every year. Shout out to Jeff Barlow. But no, not at all. You
He deflected that one, folks. We will revisit that one later.
Yeah, the statue is, I will say, is anyways. So look, I'm gonna take Oklahoma State at 4.5, or I mean at 4. Look, I think Oklahoma State has found who they are going to be. And I think look, we played a really good game last week against Iowa State, but we also gave up 190 yards on the ground to Bryce Hall, and he's a heck of a running back. But I'm telling you, this guy, Jalen Warren, it runs through him. And if Spencer Sanders shows up, and they typically always show up for big games, that is definitely the one thing that Oklahoma State Cowboys have, going for them in Stillwater, is they show up for big games. Mike Gundy loves the spotlight on his program in big games, and I think he probably doesn't even have to say anything, man. I think they love it. So look, -4. I think I'm going to take that. The 49.5. I am going to take the over on that. I'm going to take the over on that.
I'm taking the over on that as well. Both teams playing pretty good football, and think they're going over that for sure.
Okay, going up to Ames here. We got Kansas at Iowa State. Iowa State is a 33-point favorite. With the over-under set at 57.5. What say you there, kiddo?
I'm taking Kansas +33, man. I don't think Iowa State wins by 33 points. They have not proven themselves to me at this point in the season yet. Not doing it. No way, no how. Kansas, you're not winning the football game, but you're winning the bet. I'm putting a little money on you guys, which is just a horrible idea. Bryce, what are your thoughts?
Let's see here. I got to go back because I just want to see what Duke was favored. last week against Kansas. You guys bear with me just real quick, but Kansas, oh my gosh, where's it at? All right, cool. I don't know where it is. Anyways, they ended up, it was tight the first half. They were actually beating them 24-21, and then Duke ran away with it. Look, 33 points is a really tough ask for anybody, especially when you just got beat at Waco. It's kind of deflating. I'm with you. I'm actually going to take Kansas to cover that point spread, but it's under 57.5. Iowa State can't really score, and they're not going to beat them by 33. So
agreed. All right. Well, switching gears here. Time for our last segment of the day. We do it every week. It is 2 Qs and a
nice 2 Qs and a beer here. Go ahead and lead us off.
This is where we pick one, play one, and watch one. Kind of fun. Sometimes we'll do fan interaction. Sometimes we'll pick them ourselves.
Yep.
This week, Bryce, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Of course, I'll answer as well, but I'll go ahead and ask you. Pick one. If you could pick, and this could be one that you played in or just one that you heard about or the one that you like. If you could pick one bowl venue, what would it be and why?
Rose Bowl.
Okay. Granddaddy of them all. Have you ever been there?
We had a rookie symposium there.
But you've never been to a game at the Rose Bowl. So I went in 2017 to watch Baker and the boys play Georgia. Jake Fromm,
Ali,
Sony Michel, Nick Chubb. Yeah, that was unbelievable experience.
Yeah.
Pasadena. I mean, if you have never had the chance to go to the Rose Bowl and watch a football game, do it. The best part was not the football game. The best part, almost, leaving the stadium at every exit was a little hot dog stand. Not a big one. Little cart. And I had to walk to multiple exits on the way out because I had to have multiple hot dogs. They were incredible. Absolutely incredible. Pro tip there, if you ever go to the Rose Bowl. That's a good choice.
Trevor likes pickles and hot dogs, just so everybody knows. What is your bowl venue and why?
You're such a you-know-what. I am going – this is a – I don't know what this experience is like. I just imagine it's going to be chaos, right? Okay. I'm going to the Barstool Sports Bowl in Tucson, Arizona this year. I'm not actually going there. I would play. That's where I would play that. Barstool Sports Bowl, Tucson, Arizona. I think it's going to be absolutely rowdy. They may not even get to finish the game because there's going to be all sorts of craziness going on. But could you imagine playing in an atmosphere where,
does Dave Portnoy do the coin toss?
I don't know what he does. He may do the whole broadcast. Who knows at this point?
Just kick somebody. That'd be sweet.
But I think that'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, play one. Are you? This is tough. I framed this one up because I want your Baylor faithful to really throw you under the bus this week.
Okay.
Would you rather play Augusta, have the opportunity to play around at Augusta, or replay your Fiesta Bowl?
Oh, man.
And you guys all remember Bryce went and played in the Fiesta Bowl, played well. The Baylor Bears were on top of the college football world. It was cute. It was fun. But I know how big of a golf fan you are.
Yeah.
Are you playing Augusta? Tough. Are you going to replay the Fiesta Bowl? And the festivities before, after, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, right. But no, I really want this Fiesta Bowl back. This is hard. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but I would actually rather go replay the Fiesta Bowl just to get. Is it an automatic win? Like we get to replay it, or is it like you replay and the same outcome, or like what's the replay here?
Starting from scratch.
You
got to go reproduce. You got to.
The thing is, this was what excited me about it. Right? Is that I think is it the winning team or the MVP get Fiesta chips for life? Like this toast.
I think
they do. I think Fiesta chips, dude.
Do you have Fiesta chips for life?
I don't even know what a Fiesta chip is.
Were you the MVP?
No, I don't even know what a Fiesta chip is.
Do you remember?
I think Ripper Siggs, Blake Bortles.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Chain and Siggs. No, Fiesta chips. That's Tostito chips. Whatever. Anyways, If I could go back, I'd go back and replay the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah, I'm not getting caught in that trap.
Okay, fair enough.
Which, by the way, real quick, just for our viewer, so Blake Bortles, did you ever hear that interview? It was the greatest interview I've ever heard.
No,
Blake Bortles interview.
No, what was it?
So the question was that she asked Blake Bortles. This is awesome because Blake's just an interesting cat. But she asked him, if you weren't playing football, what would you do? And this is like when he was getting, he just got drafted by Jacksonville, like number 3. And he's in a straight face. He goes, man, probably ripping cigs, working construction. It had to have been the funniest thing. Oh, dude, it was awesome. All right.
Watch one. Last one here. Would you rather watch, and this is a big deal, we just had the Summer Olympics. It was a lot of fun. Would you rather watch the swimming portion of the Summer Olympics or the women's gymnastics portion of the Summer Olympics? Because in my opinion, those are kind of
fun.
Track's a lot of fun too. Don't get me wrong. But if you had to choose those two, Olympic swimming or women's gymnastics, what do you choose?
and you have in the Phelps days here.
Yeah, and that is a caveat. This is during the Phelps days, right?
Man, Simone Biles. I tell you what, you're in the presence of greatness either way, which is great. As a fan, if you're in the presence of greatness, I think it's awesome. I would say just because I always recorded the swimming just to watch that, I would probably pick Phelps. And if it happened to be on the women's gymnastics, I'd always keep it on there, but I wouldn't record the women's gymnastics. So I think Olympic swimming in the Phelps days is what I would choose.
I'm with you. Swimming, that's by far the best, most exciting, all of those good things about the Olympics, in my opinion. Man,
love it.
That was fun. So here we are. Another week done. The Trevor and Bryce show. Guys, if we could just give you all a shout out as our viewers, we appreciate y'all joining us each and every week. We've got some good feelers out there for some guests that are coming up and coming down the line. Follow me. You see it on the screen at Trevor_99 and follow Bryce at Brycer09. And we'll be retweeting all this stuff, the Field of 12. Let me tell you guys a little bit about our partner, the Field of 12 Media. It's a brand new podcast and digital media network covering college football by the people that know it best. Brought to you by Shoot Your Shot Productions, the folks behind the Field of 68. The Field of 12 gives you insight into the game we all know and love by the people who have lived it. Bryce and I are obviously covering the Big 12 all year long. We've got folks around the country covering the different conferences. Tune in. We've got a Saturday night live show with George Whitfield, the QB guru, myself, Bryce Petty, Christian Hackenberg, and some guests from time to time. So tune into that. You guys subscribe to our YouTube, subscribe to our Apple Podcast, anywhere you can get your podcast, subscribe to it. It'll be on Twitter as well.
Yep.
And we look forward to continuing this throughout the rest of the year. Bryce, my man, I love it. This is a lot of fun.
No doubt. And shout out again to Yay Networks, man. This is so cool. I can't wait for you guys to hear this.
We got a real spot.
We got a real
right
spot.
Here.
It doesn't make me look any better or sound better. But I tell you what, not bad.
And one last thing, you guys let us know what you want to hear too. If there's a topic, or if you want Bryce and I to do a cappella,
comedic relief,
voice of an angel over here,
sound like it. It could be a little nasally.
Give us a little something.
That was.
All right. Anyways, guys, the Trevor and Bryce show signing off once again. We'll see y'all next week.